Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you are doing marvelous in this moment in time, and that whoever you are, whatever you are, whenever you are, and wherever you are, when you're listening to this, that you are aware that you might be going through the stages of grief. Now, we've talked about this before, and I wanted to reiterate it just because it is adamantly apparent to me now the stages I've been going through. The first few days, I was all, yeah, we could do this, we could do that, we could do all these wonderful things and utilize our time. And I was in denial, maybe. Things hadn't quite set in what was going on. And, there it was. And then I went through kind of a disbelief, but also aware of what's happening and the depression of it. And I was talking about the numbers every day. And then I was kind of with a resignation. I felt that acceptance of, all right, well, this is going on, and this is where we are, and okay, fine, this is going on. And you know what, guys? I woke up today, I was so effing mad. So pissed off. I woke up just absolutely angry as fuck. And just, I don't know. I was mad as hell. And I've been pissed off all day long. I'm in the anger stage. Like I'm angry at those assholes that let this get out. I'm angry at the people that are supposedly in charge of the governments that just didn't bother to put a military enforced lockdown quarantine a month ago before all this stuff got worse. I'm mad that almost 15,000 people in the United States have died because of this. John Prine, God rest his soul. Some famous people are going. And I'm pissed off that almost 400,000, almost 500,000 people in the United States have this. In fact, if you don't listen to this right away, like within 2 days, it will be 500,000 people. 1/3 of all the people on earth that have coronavirus will be in the United States. I'm pissed off about that. I'm grateful that I'm not there, but I'm mad because you know what? A lot of you listening, you're in my country. You're American like me. And we don't have leadership. And I'm mad about that. And I'm mad that they didn't put off the primaries in a couple places. They just said they're forcing people out of their homes during a quarantine and a global pandemic. It's an international crisis. And they're like, if you don't vote, then you just don't vote. So they're forcing people out to vote, and it's putting people's lives in danger. People's lives have been in danger all over the place. When people are told they can't wear a mask at work, their lives are in danger. I've been mad about that. And I'm just mad because, I tried today, my son tried to order food, and we were, I was going to try to use my card, and they accepted that my card is from the United States. But when I put the zip code for Ecuador, where I live, it wouldn't accept my card. But then when I put my old address or my old zip code, they wouldn't accept it because I don't live there, and that's not what the bank knows. So I'm in a catch-22. It's like my card is like half American and half Ecuadorian, according to the system. And finally we just said, screw it, we'll pay cash. We'll buy groceries like 2 or 3 more times, and then one of us, my son or I, will have to go out and get food. We'll have to go get money to get food. And we're just going to have to bite the bullet, and go do it. And So my son just said, screw it, we're just going to pay cash. So he ordered $60-something worth of food, and it said it was too much food. It was too much money. So we got the order down to like $40. It said it was too much. We got down to like $30, and it still said it's too much. And we're thinking weight. Maybe it's too much in weight, because, the motorcycle guy has to carry the food. And I'm like, why is a 25-pound bag of rice even on the list if you can't? And that's not, we were just ordering. He just wanted to order stuff to make cookies and bread. Things that will build morale. And he finally just ordered $11 worth of stuff and said, put his phone number in, but his phone isn't working. And then put my phone number in, saying, hey, just WhatsApp us and, look out the window or whatever. And they refused to bring it at all because his phone wasn't working. Even though everybody in this town has WhatsApp, because it's absolutely free to call people and you don't have to add more money on your phone if you use WhatsApp, and everyone uses WhatsApp here. Everyone does. I mean, out of 100 people, I'll meet 2 that don't. Those are people probably still have landlines in their house. But everyone uses it. So I was pissed off about all that. We wasted almost 3 hours trying to order food and couldn't. The next door neighbors rented out their house or ended up living in their apartment, or went over there today early in the morning and started making this scraping sound and all this sound right next to where my bed is, and kept me up. And I was really angry about that because, it's an Airbnb apartment. Who the hell is on vacation in a global pandemic? So I was pissed off about that. I was just pissed off about everything today. I haven't even eaten since yesterday because I'm pissed off about the same freaking food every day. It's the same. I just have to have variety in my life, and it is driving me crazy. I'm seriously going batshit crazy in here. And I realized something about myself today, that day 23, the quarantine, that's my limit. As an extreme introvert, I can handle 22 days alone in my home. Well, I'm with my kid, so maybe it would even be less time if my son hadn't been here. But I can handle being inside, not breathing air, not opening my window, just breathing the stale ass air we've got here inside the apartment. Thank God we got a 3-bedroom apartment with a living room, dining room, and a kitchen. I mean, it's big enough where we're not going to just die of rebreathing our own breath after a while. But I just learned that about myself today, that my limit of not going outside is 23 days. It's like the sun, it was such a beautiful day and it made me cry. I was just like, I want to feel the breeze on my face again and the sun on my skin, even if it's for 3 damn minutes. I mean, I cherish those 3 minutes a week that I could put my redheaded skin in the sun. But I'm just pissed off. I'm angry today. I accept that about myself, and I'm not going to hide it from you guys and act like I'm happy-go-lucky, woo-woo-woo, yay, life is great, because it's freaking not today. Not today, it's not. I'm bored. I'm bored as hell. And I'm angry as hell also. It's just, everything's hell today. And I did a little bit of a meditation and a clearing before I got on here, but I wanted you guys to know that it's okay if you're going through the stages of grief. I know it sounds crazy, because especially if you haven't lost anyone to the coronavirus. Say all your family and friends are intelligent and they've stayed home. They didn't go out on walks where other people walk. I'm mad even when I look on Instagram and people are like, oh, look, I went on a walk today. It was so nice to get out in the fresh air and the sunshine. Yeah, good for effing you. Now, how many people did you kill, super spreader? Or how many days is it going to be for you get the damn disease and then you prolong this shit for everybody else? But for a while today, I looked outside and I watched all the people outside, and I wasn't angry that they're outside. I was just jealous that they either are too stupid or too ignorant to heed the warnings, or they just don't give a flying fig, or maybe they just think it's a hoax. I don't know why people are out. I mean, seriously, I don't know why. I don't know why people are bringing their baby outside. Why the hell would you do that? But today I actually just felt jealous of people instead of angry. Usually I'm angry, and then today I thought, well, maybe those people are professionals, like healthcare professionals, like maybe they're on the way to the hospital. I mean, no matter which way a car is going on this road, I live between two hospitals, which on a good day is wonderful. It's like in case there's emergency, it's really easy to get help. But during a global pandemic in which people are dying, it's a horrible position to be in, because you get to see the bodies go back and forth, and the bodies go outside out the window. And it's like, this thing is kind of, they say it's not airborne, but then they say it is airborne in little droplets. I don't know what's in these trucks and these cars going by. So my son, he just taped up the windows with duct tape, and it's like a huge part of my morale is feeling the sun on my skin and opening the windows and feeling a breeze and feeling like I'm a part of nature, feeding my pigeons. They're not even my pigeons, they're just my friends that let me feed them sometimes, and they enjoy my company. And after I'm done feeding them, they'll fly to the other window and they'll watch me wash dishes or clean the kitchen or fold laundry or whatever I'm doing in the kitchen. They will hang out with me for hours, and I don't think they understand what's going on, so I haven't even interacted with the pigeons. Even the sons that they just had, the Tim and Tom, they've flown up and kind of put their head towards, like, looking inside, like, what are you doing? You haven't fed us in a while, man. Yeah, I even got to feed the boys, so I don't know. It's just one of those things, guys. Like, I feel like there's nothing I can do except stay home. Now, I know that's enough. I'm not being a super spreader, spreading my germs to the world in case I'm a carrier, not someone who would get the disease, right? But it's just so, I don't even know. It's just so frustrating, It's like, I'm glad I'm not a medical professional out on the front lines. I would have gotten it already and probably would have died from it, right? And I know that I'm doing my part in not adding to the chaos and the nonsense and prolonging this crap. I do know that Ecuador, we got another 1,000 cases in the past 24 hours, but only 50 new deaths in the whole country. That's not big. It's not huge. I mean, it's only grown by, like, I don't know, it was like in the 3,000s, like high 3,000s, and now we're only like at 4,500 like a week later. It's not terrible here. It's not, I mean, for the most part, I think we are flattening the curve. Or maybe we're 2 weeks out from a massive explosion of cases again. We don't know. Peru was all pissed off that we had so many cases, so they put all these tanks at the border, like, you're not coming into our country, right? And now their country is only like 200 cases behind ours or something. It's not, maybe it's a little bit more than that, but they're like a week out from having as many as we do now. I don't know. I mean, I'm mad about the situation. I'm mad that we're forced to stay in our homes. But, and I was seeing this in people's posts that they were angry about it. And I was like trying to tell them, like, no, you're actually doing good for the world. Stay in, stay safe. Keep your family okay. Keep other people okay, You don't stay home for you. You stay home for the other people that you might spread it to in case you got it. And I was like trying to encourage people. It's okay. You're doing the right thing. Now I realize that they went through the anger stage before I did, and now I know that maybe I'm just dyslexic and I go through my emotions different and the opposite of everybody else on earth. I don't know. I don't know. I felt myself being extremely sad about the breakup of Comet Atlas. It's breaking up now. I was so looking forward to that thing coming so close to us that it's as bright as the sun with a 3.3 million mile tail. It sounded so glorious, right? And I knew it wasn't going to fall to Earth. I knew, and it is still coming our way. And when it comes here, it's still going to probably affect us. Energetically, somehow, it's going to affect us. I just feel it. But maybe it's going to be heralding Avalon on Earth. Avalon is pretty much how it was before. It was magical. We were in a higher vibratory state, I believe, before, and magic was real, and magic is still real, but it was more easily accessed, the power of it. And Jude Dikoff of the Starseed Perspective, he's my near twin, he was telling me that he just feels that that's a harbinger, like it's going to bring back our magic. It's almost like we sent it to ourselves, and I don't know. It's possible. Anything's possible. The color of it is absolutely incredible. And he's got this a crystal ball that he found. He paid a pretty penny for it, I think. And it's the same exact color as this thing. And he's like, there's some connection to it because they're both like the same color, right? All right, Jude, this is what it is. I know you're listening to this. Okay. What if when the comet comes super, super close, you take this ball outside and charge it with the energy of that and see what happens? Oh my God, I'd be so happy if the ball glows. You have to take a video in case. But I don't know, guys. Today was just like one of those days where I'm so pissed off. Just so angry. And I don't know, if you're a longtime listener, you've known me to get angry about something and kind of go off on something. Maybe like once every, 2-3 months, maybe 4 months. Like, not very often do I get mad about stuff. If it's a social injustice or someone trying to do me wrong. And I know that I'm not the only one in the world going through it. So I'll bring it up so that you guys can realize that you're also going through something that other people are going through, but I don't know. How are you guys reacting? Maybe you've already gone through the anger stage and you're okay now. A lot of people had sent me articles and videos of people saying that this has to do with the 5G network, and it's like, sorry, viruses existed tens of thousands of years ago. I mean, it has nothing to do with the 5G network. If there had not been an animal market in Wuhan that slaughtered animals that were wild animals, and the way that they have just a general lack of cleanliness there, if they had not had that, maybe it wouldn't have gotten out, but maybe this had nothing to do with that market, and that might have just been a cover story, and maybe someone made this disease and put it out to the world, and I think that's more likely. They're counting on it killing a quarter of the world. And I think that might be why Trump's not doing a damn thing. That still has not been a military enforced full countrywide lockdown. Even now, he's not even wearing a mask. Makes me think he's got the damn antidote. Or he's just a dope. Could be that too. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I kind of feel like the 5G network thing is no joke, and I'm not going to talk about too much, but I'm going to tell you this. If you live near a tower and you get a moment after all this other quarantine crap is over, look up my episode on how to make organite, or just look up on YouTube or on the internet how to make organite, as well as tower busters. Make a bunch of those things and put them in the ground, bury them in the ground in a circle around the 5G towers. Organite does have power. It sounds like it doesn't. It sounds crazy, but it does. This is I want to say it's a Tesla. It's not Tesla. I did a whole show on it now. I forgot. I swear to God, I don't know. I'm either going completely crazy and losing my memories, or I've been just in the fifth dimension in the present moment at all times, and I'm completely forgetting everything. You know, like I have to really force myself to access information, and it's still there, but I'm a lot more nebulous on some of the details. I've always been this way in recent years, I think just because of an extreme amount of stress and post-traumatic stress disorder as well. A great deal of anxiety and worry about everything. Just, you know, are we going to make it? Are we going to get to the fifth dimension? I have stuff in my personal life that's stressful, but overall, I mean, day to day, I'm not terribly stressed, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm just going crazy or what, but the whole names, dates, places thing, I'm a little fuzzy on in the past year. But Organite and the Tower Busters, and then he has these Cloud Busters. And there was somebody I saw the other day on a video, and she had built the Cloud Busters and put them in her living room, and she sits in between them. I don't think that's terribly safe based on some of the research I've seen and some of the people who've talked about the power coming off of it. It can actually affect your energy field, but she said she wasn't taking any chances, damn it. And she was just sitting there with her Cloud Busters around her, and her Tower Busters and her Organite, and she had all these massive crystals. And I don't know, I'm thinking if you do the Cloud Busters, what they do is they make the weather the way it's supposed to be. So if you haven't had rain in a long time, you put up a couple Tower Busters, and you're definitely going to get rain within 24 hours. So if you're in a drought condition, it's been 10 years, I mean, just put one of those up, you'll be fine. And if it's been a long time, you probably get flooded because it's got a balance, you know, if there hasn't been a balance. But the Tower Busters, I've been thinking about it a lot for a few days, and I just feel like if I mention it, y'all know what to do. Tower Busters are easy to make. You go get a few muffin pans at the thrift store. You get yourself some Pam spray, cooking spray. You spray the hell out of those things, and you do the Organite. And when it comes out, it's going to be either dark brown or black. Just they'll look like muffins, but you know, they'll stink. They'll be like that epoxy resin, and once they're dry and hardened and catalyzed 100%, you just start putting them up around the neighborhood. You could grid your whole city with these, just bury them, take a little shovel and bury them, but go around all of the cell phone towers, whether they're 3G, 4G, 5G, doesn't matter. It's going to knock out all of the negative energy, and it's going to help people, and it'll help you. And the phone itself, the cell phones will still work, but also there's a thing I haven't talked about yet. It's called the Sacred G. Go look up the Sacred G. There's papers that there's things that you can print up if you have a printer in full color, and you could put it inside your tablet, your cell phones, put it up around your house, and the energy of this Sacred G by Corey Love is going to also fix some energy around you. That's something I haven't even gotten into it. God bless him. He's so sweet. He married 2 women. I think one obviously isn't legal or something. Anyway, he married 2 women, and they have a little family now living in Mexico, and the women fell in love, and they all just fell in love. Absolutely. So it's like a throuple. It's a very progressive people. And he died several times. And when he died, he went to heaven. And when he went to heaven, they were like, this is the Sacred G, and you need to put this energy out there. And this is going to save your world and protect people from the radiation of cell phones and yada, 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 basically. And I'll go into his stuff someday. It's interesting. He's a very interesting person. Very, very sweet. He used to teach classes online oh God, over 10 years ago, and I used to listen to every last one of them. He was so incredibly interesting. I don't even know, maybe he's still doing it. It's like I've been traveling, and when my husband died 10 years ago, my life just became very chaotic, and I just started traveling with the kids and not really knowing what to do. And it threw me into a kind of a crazy headspace, like a post-traumatic stress disorder style headspace, I think. And I've been dealing with that for 10 whole years. And but today it was all kind of triggered a little bit, and nothing except for the people having the Airbnb people next door. Now, I don't know if they're renting or if it's the people who own the place decided to go work on their house during the pandemic, during the quarantine lockdown. They're going to get fined. That's illegal. You can't even just go somewhere unless it's like the three main things. And I don't know. My bank has not yet sent me my bank card, and that's supposed to come here in a week. And so I have to take a taxi clear across town. That's pissing me off too, because I don't even know. It's just like I'm going to pay $10 to go all the way across town to get my bank card. And having to leave my apartment, and worried about coronavirus and all that. I'm worried about all this. Even if they delivered it here, I'd have to leave and still go in that stupid hallway. And I'm just worried about the neighbors, although they haven't been coughing lately, so maybe that's a good sign. Maybe it's just allergies, or maybe they're smokers. I don't even know. Anyway, I just wanted you guys to know that if you have a bad day, if you have a day in which you're depressed and crying all day, if you have a day in which you're angry all day, that's okay. That's really, really okay. Because this is hard, what we're all going through. And I have had a hard time focusing on anything outside of doing the show. I can barely get to the show some days. But, in fact, today I didn't know what to do the show on. God said, do it on magnets. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, magnet therapy. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. God is cool. I haven't thought about magnet therapy in years and years and years, like 20 years. It's been 20 years. And God literally said, magnet therapy. I'm all cool. And then I realized that today was a week ago, that I started those 20 questions. So we're going to get to the second part of that tonight. And maybe we'll go over magnet therapy tomorrow. I found several types of magnet therapy, so it's good I have 2 days to research this. So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do tomorrow, unless somebody supersedes it. Like if Michael Sherahan comes and says, I got a message for humanity, I'm going to release that tonight, then I'm going to channel him instead. But otherwise, it's going to be about magnet therapy tomorrow. Which is cool. I mean, hey, that's going to be something. So I'm excited about that. But I've been doing a lot of language stuff today, even though I was mad. I managed to get through literally one episode of Ozark. It's such a weird and dark show, but when you're angry, it actually kind of lifts your mood, because at least their lives are worse than yours. You kind of feel better about your own life. I don't recommend it if you're sensitive, though. I'm more of a warrior than a super sensitive empath. I'm not like, if there's a little bit of violence on a TV show, I know it's fake blood. I know how they make it. I kind of grew up around Hollywood, but I don't like horror movies or things are really violent, really disgusting. I don't like it. But Ozark is strange, and it's more cerebral, and it's got that tension, the way that they hold the tension. And I'm a writer, so sometimes I like to watch darker shows for that. Some of the elements intrigue me, but I couldn't get through one whole, I think I got through maybe like half of an episode and 5 minutes of the next episode, and then that was it. I had a half an episode left to watch, and that's all I did all day. I talked to a few people on Instagram, talked to some of my friends that are having a hard time. My friend Salim keeps walking around New York City. He's absolutely blown away. He keeps taking pictures of everything being absolutely empty. looking up and down from his apartment. All he could see was one person walking in the street. It's freaking him out. I mean, he's from Algeria and he moved to New York City, and it was like this massively amazing place compared to the desert where he grew up. And now he's like looking around, just like, I think it's freaking him out. He's just like, man. And he caught several pictures of a really nasty accident. Someone was driving really fast through the streets of Manhattan in a sports car, really expensive sports car, and they crashed in the back of a van because they were going too fast. And he got some cool pictures of that. And it's funny because there's like no one around, and that's why, of course, this person's like, oh yeah, I get to go through the streets of Manhattan so fast. They're probably pissed off too. They're lucky they were able to drive away from that wreck. They're really, really lucky. They totaled their car. But I don't know, but I have a lot of friends all over the world. They're just starting to go through this restless thing, you know. And if you're an extrovert, you've already gone through this. You're probably laughing at me going, God, it took you that long. But I'm an extreme introvert. I mean, I could sit at home all the time, you know. I sat at home for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, maybe 3 months. When I got really, really sick, I was home alone for like 3 months. But I had a landline back in the day. It was before cell phones and internet. I had people calling me left and right, seeing if I was okay, because everyone was afraid I was going to die. And one time, actually, I laid down to take my temperature, and I woke up 48 hours later. My temperature, I found my thermometer, and it was like 106.7. So I think I actually did die. And I came back after 2 days. My dad had called me. My mom had called me. I had 10 messages on my machine next to my head, and none of the sound was turned down. It's crazy stuff. But I managed to walk to the store. It took me an hour to walk 2 blocks because of the disease I'd been given. It's the same thing the government gave to the people in Iraq. I got it on an army base. Probably not supposed to talk about it, but fuck them. They've literally ruined my life. Because before that, I was like an overachiever, really, really powerful dynamo type of person, and I had tons of energy. Now I'm sleeping 10 to 12 hour days. I could barely function during the day. That's why I haven't gotten back to a lot of people, so I haven't done any interviews for over, God, it's been like 2 months, and I have a list of people who want to do interviews with me. I haven't been able to do anything. It's like I barely get through my day. I still have that stupid disease. And, I mean, I've done all the diets. I mean, I've done vegan and vegetarian and eating extra meat and keto. I've done every diet you can imagine. I've gone to naturopaths. I've gone through herbal healing. I've gone through acupuncture, acupressure, massage, even colonics, body wraps. I mean, I've done everything over the past, 20 something years that I've had this, 25 years, but it's crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know. Better than I ever was now, though, even though it still affects me. But anyway, I don't know, guys. I just want you guys to know it's okay if you're having this anger and you're just like, There's a really hilarious thing. It says the 5 stages of COVID-19, and it's with Gandalf. It's like from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's so hilarious. It's like stage 1. It's like when you're like going to get all the stuff from the store. You know, you're planning to be inside your house for the rest of your life because you don't know how long this is going to last. And anyway, it goes through all the stages, but when it gets to stage 3, it's just delirium, where you're just laughing your ass off and acting goofy. And I went through that this past week. So I was like laughing really hard when I saw that. I'm like, oh my God, that's the stage I'm at. And, but there's also the stages of grief, like, and this is just, I think I went through all the other stages. Anger for me was the last one. You know, and anger's always just covering up because you're hurt. And I am hurt. I'm hurt that I can't see the sun. I can't go to the park. Can't go downtown. I can't go to my favorite coffee house and see, the owner who's like the coolest person. His wife is cool. They have a little kid they named Tupac, which is like super cool. Tupac, by the way, even though they did name him after the rapper, Tupac Shakur, Tupac is a name from the Incan Empire. There's actually a city in Peru called Tupac. I was like, what? But, yeah, there's people I miss. There's people I want to hang out with. I mean, if you go downtown here in this city and you sit on a park bench under the trees where you're kind of in the shade, but you can still kind of watch people. If you just sit there for like an hour, you're going to meet 4 or 5 people. It's one of the coolest things. People are curious here. You'll meet people from other countries coming up, just want to talk to you. And you'll meet people from here asking, and they want to practice their English. I'm an extreme introvert and I hate that. I dread it when people talk to me, but I'm even now missing that interaction. So, it's bad when an introvert misses interacting with humans and not being a curmudgeon anymore, because I swear to God, I am the president of the Curmudgeon Society. In fact, my kids, they became curmudgeons for a while, and we would have meetings of the order of the curmudgeons. And we would be like, okay, the order of the curmudgeons is, the Society of Curmudgeons is now coming to order. This is the meeting, and we'd like hit the table, and then we'd just be laughing. We're just always, we used to have meetings and talk about what can we talk about that would make people freak out and not want to talk to us anymore. So we'd have like conversation stoppers meetings on that, and we're just doing it as just comedic genius. My kids are hilarious, super funny, and we just sit around with these weird conversations for hours because we're bored. But I'm even missing interaction with humans, even with strangers. I'm missing that today. And yesterday, what was I saying? Oh my God, I don't want to talk to people ever. And now today, everything flipped because I just hit this stage of grief. Anyway, I hope that you guys got through the anger stage quickly. The super unproductive stages are depression and anger. So, yeah, we'll see how we are tomorrow, how I am tomorrow. But I want to go to spaceweather.com and talk about for a minute. Solar wind speed has picked up. It's 493.6 kilometers per second. And even though we have the solar wind speed that's picked up, we have 0 sunspots. We have now been 3 days without a sunspot, and the solar wind has arrived. You can tell if you go to spaceweather.com because of the most beautiful auras. They're purple and green and white and lavender, and they look like angel wings, and they're absolutely incredible. I wonder if we can't go see some wonderful videos that people have taken and uploaded already on from the Aurora Borealis. But they said that the stream's velocity today that hit us was only moderately high. 450 kilometers per second is the rate it hit us. So I've been feeling all kinds of ear ringing and just, obviously my emotions and a lot of confusion, a little tiny bit of nausea, and that's been this week is the nausea. Lots of pain, like arthritis, joint pain, back pain, neck pain, just skeletal pain, nervous energy, nerves being just firing, different parts of my body just absolutely being in pain out of nowhere. Like I'll be walking, I'll be fine, just walking down the hallway and everything's cool, and all of a sudden my knee absolutely aches like I just injured myself, but I didn't. That kind of stuff. So I think that the solar wind kind of had something to do with that. Now, I wanted to also let you know, if you go to spaceweather.com, there is a gorgeous moon. There was a lady in Karachi, Pakistan. Her name is Tala Zia. She took a beautiful picture of the moon, and you could see the colors of the moon. It doesn't look like just a white globe, dude. Like there's blue. You could see the titanium minerals on the surface. There's blue, there's pink, there's purple. There's this kind of orangey color. It's absolutely incredible. This is the most detailed moon picture I've ever seen. And she took it yesterday during the pink full supermoon in Libra. So super cool. She actually had to stack 43 single images to enhance. It's like her whole method, her photography method is incredible. So I encourage you guys to go check this out if you're interested. Finland has reported the neutron counts for today. They are still at a very high range, but they are, in the past 48 hours, the change has come down by only 0.1%. Slightly-ish, good-ish news for people who have heart problems and heart palpitations and heart pacemakers, because when you have a lot of radiation coming from the cosmos, it is bound to affect everybody, but especially the people with heart issues, especially with the machines. So just take it easy if that's you, or if you know someone in that situation, tell them just to take it easy, man. Seriously, on days like this, I see these numbers and how high it was. I feel like I'm going to start wearing a tinfoil helmet any day now. I swear I'm going to make that. Probably because out of sheer damn boredom. I'm angry and I'm mad, but now I'm going to look like the Mad Hatter. My tinfoil hat. I swear to God, that's the next step. Okay, coronal hole. I believe we already mentioned this. It's going to come down 2 days from now. So the 10th to the 11th is when we're going to get more solar winds blowing from the sun. All Sky Fireball Network from NASA, their cameras caught 4 fireballs that exploded over the United States today. Not too much. Usually we get more, right? So here we go. I've been having a lot of weird things. Like right now, it feels like there's something crawling on my leg. I'm looking at my leg. There's absolutely nothing there. I touch it. There's nothing there. And yet it still feels. I don't know if it's Kundalini energy or if it's a fairy sitting on me, or I don't know what it is. But I've been getting this feeling quite a bit. A few days ago, I know it was energy from my... Oh, now I'm seeing things on the corner of my eye. I think it might be a fae saying hello. But I know that my twin flame was sending me energy, and I felt him kissing my forehead and kissing my eye, like on the outside, like next to my eyebrow. And I felt like a kiss on my cheek and near my mouth. So I've been feeling those kinds of energies. It feels like someone's in the room and actually kissed me, but no one's here, by myself. Always by myself. Introverts on quarantine. Oh my God. That could be a super boring show. No, okay. Maybe not. I don't know. All right. We're at 39, so we're almost at 40 on disclosurenews.it as far as the Schumann Resonance is concerned. I'm not going to go through, it's maybe too much to read through all this, but 39, that's good, right? 40 is the actual bottom rung of the fifth dimension, technically speaking, scientifically speaking, I guess. So I keep trying, okay, here we go. I keep trying to get this from the heart math. I've had to reload the page like 3 times. It is here, thank God. All right, good. Well, that's what I like to see. Very super high numbers in South Africa. Some of the other numbers are coming up except for, well, you know the one. We're going to get to that in a minute. California started off at 48 hertz frequency on the Schumann Resonance scale at midnight. By 4 a.m., they were at 41. And Hufuf, Saudi Arabia, that's the one. That's just the dud. It's at 0 all the way across. It's been for days like this. came up off the mat for 2 or 3 days and then went right back down. So down for the count right now. Lithuania started off at 112 hertz frequency at midnight, and by 4 a.m., they were at 116 hertz frequency. Ooh, again, I'm feeling this energy on my leg. I don't know what this is. Very strange. It feels like, I don't know, it just feels like someone's touching my leg. It's very, on my lower leg, like next to my ankle. Very weird, but I've been feeling this for days. So if you guys have been feeling that, I think it's just maybe an ascension symptom. But now when I say that, I just saw a fairy fly through my room. For a second I saw it and then disappeared. Hi guys. Oh my God, my life is so crazy. You know, it's like those of us that have a crazy life like this, it's like constant magical stuff happening all around us all the time. I know that we're the weirdos in the third dimension, but in the fifth dimension, when all of the people mass awakenings start to occur, they're going to be looking to us like we're the freaking leaders. We will be the leaders. We'll be like, well, yeah, it's just a fairy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, the cloud is shaped like a dragon because they're trying to give you a message. Pay attention. I mean, it's like over and over and over again. It's like everything that is my normal everyday life that has been like this for most of my life. It's going to start happening to everybody. Finally, they're going to be like, oh, well, she wasn't crazy. We could have stayed friends with her. My family. Oh, we didn't have to stop talking to her. She wasn't crazy after all. It's crazy. All right. So, California, 70, no, it's not California, dagnabbit, Canada, the other CA. Alberta, Canada started off at 78 hertz frequency at midnight, and by 4 a.m. they were down to 67 hertz frequency, still well within fifth dimension there. Northland, New Zealand started off at 52 hertz frequency at midnight. By 4 a.m. they were at 55 hertz frequency. And last but not least, and this is the exciting one, Honolulu, South Africa started off at midnight at 243 hertz frequency, and they went up, and they landed at 256 hertz frequency at 4 a.m. So that's pretty incredible, right? Gotta love that. All right, so there we go. 7 Schumann resonances on Earth. Now, we are at lesson 270 in A Course in Miracles. So, this is the workbook, and you can get the books for about $60 used in a used bookstore near you. They're a lot more expensive if you buy them fresh from barnesandnoble.com or whatever. But if you just want to read the lessons for free, they're still valuable no matter what you pay for them, whether it's $0 or $200. Okay, it's never going to be that much, but it's worth it. But you could go to the Foundation for Inner Peace at acim.org and read all the books for free, or you can just download an app and take it with you on the go, so you can listen to this. They do have, now if you're blind and you're listening to the show, there is, and I don't know how to do it, but you might be able to figure it out more than me. There, like if you're blind, I don't know how to do it, but there is a way to have they read the lessons for you, and I'm reading the lesson for you, obviously, but you can also go to their website or the apps, and they will, they do have them where they will read it to you. So you can actually access it that way as well, which I think is pretty neat. But there's a lot of apps that have the Course in Miracles. It's a very popular thing. In fact, I just subscribed to somebody on Instagram, and they actually put out a photograph of the book, A Course in Miracles, like of their lessons every day. So I thought that was interesting. So it's all over the place. It's super popular. Anyway, we're on lesson 270 today, and this is what it is. I will not use the body's eyes today. Oh my God, I honestly didn't even know that when I was talking about being blind and stuff. I'm like so freaked out. Why? It's like I always am so connected without even knowing I'm connected. Like, I swear to God, I didn't read that yet. As I just uploaded this page. Freaking me out again, man. I will not use the body's eyes today. Father, Christ's vision is your gift to me, and it has power to translate all that the body's eyes behold into the sight of a forgiven world. How glorious and gracious is this world. Yet how much more will I perceive in it than sight can give? The world forgiven signifies your Son acknowledges his Father, lets his dreams be brought to truth, and waits expectantly the one remaining instant more of time which ends forever, as your memory returns to him. And now his will is one with yours. His function now is but your own, and every thought except your own is gone. The quiet of today will bless our hearts, and through them peace will come to everyone. Christ is our eyes today, and through his sight we offer healing to the world through him, the Holy Son, whom God created whole, the Holy Son, whom God created one. I will not use the body's eyes today. Well, that might explain my memory loss. I mean, I started connecting with God 20 something years ago, but in 2007 I did that in a bigger way, and every day I renew it and I reinforce it and I talk to God every day. Maybe that's why I just don't have a lot of chitter chatter, pitter patter. I don't know, pitter patter of the little men's feet in my head. I don't know. I just don't have that anymore, and that's why I forget a lot of stuff, and I have to really focus on something to remember it. Or maybe I'm just going crazy, I don't know, but no, I think that makes sense. If it's the only thoughts I have in my head is, when I look outside, usually I just think, bless them, bless them, bless them, bless them, bless them. God bless that person, God bless that person, God bless that person. That's usually the only thing that's in my mind when I look outside at the people. Very rarely is my ego ever engaged. It still gets engaged, obviously. It's why I'm angry, right? I do know there's a higher plan, and I do feel better after I express this to you guys, but I don't know. It's weird how you have to go through all these stages of grief, right? All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we are going to talk about the last 10 questions from that movie, One. Is that what it's called? One? I'm excited about this. These are cool questions, and I hope that you enjoy them. I'll be right back after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, guys, so last Wednesday I started this part one of this 20 questions for every spiritual seeker, and that's the name of the article by Ian Mackenzie, Mackenzie, and he wrote this article for the matadornetwork.com, and I thought this is very interesting and intriguing questions. He talks about how he was in his 20s going to be an existential nihilist. And he thought if he had answered these questions every 5 to 10 years later, every 5 to 10 years, kind of revisit his answers, he wondered how he would have learned and grown. So anyway, it's just very intriguing, and you could read the article. I'm not going to read the article to you, but he said it would have been interesting to have chronicled his worldview 8 years ago versus now, and how much he's changed and grown. And I just feel like these are really important questions to ask yourself. And I mean, you can listen to them now, sit down and write them down. Then in a year, 2 years, how did your answers change, right? So, okay, 20 questions for every spiritual seeker. We went through 1 through 10. Now we're going to do tonight 11 through 20. So, how I did it last week is that I asked the question and then gave you a few seconds to kind of mull it over, or time to turn, to pause the podcast to really think about it, write it down, maybe talk to your friends about it, and then get back and hear my answer, and then go back to the next question. So however you want to do, if you just want to hear it all the way through and then go back and listen to it a second time to write down the questions and write your answers after, it's up to you. There's no right or wrong answers, just who you are right now, how you think right now, how you feel right now, and tomorrow or next year might be totally different story. In fact, the answers I'm giving you right now might not be my answers in a year. So, all right, here we go. So the first question, this is going to be a long one. Woo! Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to pause this for a minute because I think that might be an ambulance. Well, that was mighty sketchy. Very, very weird. It wasn't an ambulance. It was a police car. Like a, I don't know, something that looked like a modern day Bronco. I don't even know what kind of car this would be, but like a truck with a shell on it kind of vehicle. I don't know. I don't know anything about boring cars. I know a lot about really exciting cars like Mustangs, but race cars a little bit, but nothing about the just more boring modern cars. But anyway, it was a cop, and he had his lights on, and you heard that woo, and he's going down the street super, super slow, kind of like he's rolling on up to the neighborhood. It was so weird, super sketchy. And usually when they do something like that, over the past 3 weeks, they'll have like a loudspeaker saying, better stay in your house, right? Or whatever, coronavirus, blah, blah, blah. And right now he was going so slow. I think he's looking to find people that are out walking at night so he can arrest them. I bet Ecuador is making a fortune in fines. I know in some cities the food prices have skyrocketed, and people are running out of money as well as food, and it's illegal, but the police won't even do anything because they're too stressed about everything else. So crazy times we live in. So I don't know. Let's just ask God to bless all of it, and we can free our minds to these higher, loftier questions right now. So here we go. Question 11 is, what happens to you after you die? What happens to you after you die? So if you want to pause it, think about your answer, write it down, and then listen to mine after. You can do that. All right, I'm going to give you my answer now. So now's a good time to shut the... I'm not going to say shut off my podcast, but pause it. Turn back on in a second. All right, here we go. What happens to you after you die? Now, this is from my remembrance, my direct experience, my reading a lot of material, reading a lot of people's accounts that remember dying and living in heaven and then being reborn again. An extremely good book is called Life Between Lives. And the author who wrote that used to live in Grass Valley, California, when I lived in Grass Valley, California. And I heard, it was the first time I ever spoke to Art Bell on the phone. And I was listening, and he was recording it during the day, and he said, if you want to be a call-in person, you want to hear the show and maybe call in during the day so we have an exciting show. He had something to do at night. He had somewhere to go. I think that's when he's going to Mackinac Island with his wife, and he into Michigan, so he had to catch his flight. So he did the show, pre-recorded it, and then it aired later. And I called in. I listened to the show that day early, and I called in, and he answered, and we actually had a conversation. It was really cool. It was like, oh my God, the first contact I had with Art. And I asked him how to get in touch with the guy, and asked him some other questions, and then how to get in touch with the guy that wrote Life Between Lives. And he said, well, let me get that for you off the air. And then he came back and gave me the address for Llewellyn Publishing. And I had already been doing things with Llewellyn Publishing. I used to buy advertisements in their newsletter about stuff that I did, handwriting analysis. And so it was all just so weird and cosmic because all these things are intertwined. And so I, in Grass Valley, wrote to Minnesota, where I used to live, in that state. So it was all very cosmic and super interconnected, to Llewellyn Publishing. And then they wrote back to me or actually they forwarded my letter to him in Grass Valley. And then he wrote to me, to my P.O. box, from his P.O. box. And when I went to pick it up, I pulled it out of my P.O. box that was literally touching his P.O. box, just to the right of mine. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm like, oh my God, my life is so freaking spooky. That was so spooky. He probably lived down the street from me and I didn't even know it, right? Anyway, the guy that wrote this book, Life Between Lives, so you can look at that. That's very interesting and telling. But what I know from what happens to you after you die, I know that when I died and came back and I didn't fully stay dead, I actually died and then came back into this body that you're listening to right now. I was in, at first, a bright white light. And kind of it was the first time. Another time I was going down a tunnel, but I was going down the tunnel very slowly. And my daughter was 6 months old, but she, I think, might be, she's very advanced spiritually. I don't know if she's a saint, if she's a master, I don't know. but she's really brilliant, really high up there spiritually, and never talks about it. So probably way more advanced than me. She's just like keeping that to herself, right? She's like, Mom, quit trying to bust my reality. I'm trying to pretend this is all real. I know it's not, but quit reminding me that it's not. I've had that conversation many times with my oldest. So she was an adult in my dream, or showing me who she's going to be. So in her spirit body form, she was with me. And at the time when I died, she was asleep on the floor in the living room as a 6-month-old baby. But I knew it was her because I recognized her soul, because, we're best friends in heaven. So a few people were with me, and we were walking, and then I met my spiritual master and a couple other spiritual people that I knew here on earth. One person, Grandma Marion, who I talked about, she came and met me at the gates, and I walked through the doorway, which was like the shape of a star, 5-pointed star. And that's because I'm a meditator. Maybe yours will be different. It might not be in that exact shape. But anyway, I was there. My master, Mahavatar Babaji, grabbed my hand and he pulled me over the threshold. And then I met with some other people who I spoke with for a minute. And then I went with some angels, and they brought me to the throne of God. And she, at least this time, the God was goddess, and she told me, you're not going to die right now, so relax. You can ask me any question you want. Take as long as you want, and I'll bring you right back to where you were. What do you want to know? And I asked a bunch of questions, and then the last question I asked that I remember was, hey, the scientists are trying to find the formula for the unified field theory, and I've been absolutely intrigued by this, and I've watched so many documentaries on this, and they can never figure it out. They don't even know where to begin, but they know that there's an equation, a mathematical formula. And she's like, oh, this is easy. And she waved her arm, and the whiteboard came, and all of a sudden magically appeared this equation. And I knew it, and I memorized it, and I studied it, and I knew it. I'm like, yes, I've got it. And I came back, and the only thing I could remember was the right half of the equation was equals 1. So things like that, frustrating things happen, like when you have a near-death experience, and when you actually die, but then you come right back. I know that that's the kind of stuff that happens. But when you keep going and you stay there, then all of the pets that you've ever had, this life and other lives, will come and they'll greet you. And the people have to wait because the pets are so excited to see you. And you get to see all of your fur babies and all of your sweet animal friends who can speak in the language that you speak. And you all understand each other. And then you meet up with your friends, your family, and you hang out a little bit. And then you start to go to the buildings in which you can review your life. How you did, what did you get through? What did you learn? How well did you grow? What can you prove upon for next time? Is there going to be a next time? You start asking all these questions. And after you kind of get through all of this intensive life review stuff, and then you meet with your spiritual guides, you meet with your guardian angel, you meet with your council of elders, you meet with all these people, and they help you through to understand it, and they'll watch it with you. And some of your friends and family who you're very close with, and they might not have been your family on earth, but your true family in heaven, and they will sometimes go with you, or sometimes they want to understand what you've been through so they can better help you, and they'll go watch it without you and come back so they can have more love and understanding and compassion for you. And also if you had a really hard life and had a super hard, dragged out death where you were just overwhelmed with grief of it, and it was tragic and like a long disease, or if you had been abused or went through like a war or something, like a quarantine, just kidding. and probably not this, but something really major, where you're like a victim of war, but you were like in prison for a long time, or you had a disease that was horrible for a long time, you will be cocooned in like a medical building, and they have these like pyramid forms that they hover over your body, and there's energy, and it's like crystalline forms, and there's guardian angels and people. Their volunteers will come and just give you love, just cocoon you and radiate that love energy to you until you're ready to come out of that. And if you know someone who went through like a super hard time like that, and then they die, and you're a psychic medium, and they're not talking to you, and it's been like a couple years since they died, and you're like, fine, don't freaking remember me then, whatevs, don't be mad about it, because they're probably still being cocooned. Usually it takes 3 months, but sometimes it could take a couple years. Sometimes people will do that, and then they'll come out of that and they'll go into isolation just to kind of contemplate and kind of get through it. Some spirits just need that extra like couple years to go through it. And sometimes I find that they just didn't give a crap about you when they were on Earth, and they're not going to come back and talk to you, but whatever. It's usually that's not the case, but that happened to me with a couple people, and I had to ask God about it, like, why are they not talking to me? This is like, it's people who I really, really loved, and apparently I wasted my time. I don't know, is love ever wasted? Maybe not. But then after all the work you did, then you pick up where you left off in your studies that you're studying before you were born, and you get to work with animals, or you get to work with science, or you get to make inventions. And we have massive gatherings, and we get to people who died. Roy Orbison is giving concerts. Johnny Cash is giving concerts. All the people who died, all the musicians, Tupac Shakur is giving concerts. They're sharing their talents, and they're still writing new music. The poets are still writing new poems. The lecturers are still writing lectures. Shakespeare is still writing plays, and you could go watch him. Watch his troupe perform, It's wonderful. It's all free. You can eat. You can just make your own land and house and wherever you want and live in that for a while, and then erase it and go do another one. You could paint. You could learn new skills. You could do everything you want. It's just endless fun and endless learning and constant source of joy. That's my answer for that. Okay, long ass answer. All right, question 12. Get ready. Describe heaven and how to get there. Describe heaven and how to get there. All right, so I've already told you about heaven. I already kind of explained it to you, and as I'm saying this, I'm getting like white light flashes in my room. I don't know, are you angels? Nope, it's not. I'm just I'm seeing through the veil as I'm talking about it. Pretty trippy stuff. Haven't done drugs in a long time. Several days at least. I'm seeing the gossamer start to lift. This is wow. Stuff in my vision is very trippy right now. All right, so I already described heaven. That's pretty much it. There's gardens, and it's lush, and it's fragrant, and it's beautiful, and it's gossamery and feathery and plush and luxurious, beautiful, and absolutely filled with the perfume of love, if it makes any sense. Like if love could be a scent, that's what you would smell. And everyone probably would have a different scent. Like for some of us, it'll be, red licorice or cotton candy. And other people, it would be like roses or bubblegum. Whatever you think is the most wonderful smell ever, it's going to be like 1,000 times better or 1,000,000 times better. And that will be what heaven smells like too. And you'll see people, friends, family, you'll see people you haven't seen in like 1,000 years. And you'll be like, oh my God, how the hell have you been? And you'll decide to go take a walk in a garden, or go pet unicorns, or hang out with the mermaids, or you'll end up going to a restaurant that you both enjoy, and you could sit and talk have a picnic or whatever, like whatever you want. It's exactly what you wanted. And you can create, because you are a creator on earth, but it's harder here. When you're there, it's just like, boom, instant. You want to live in a castle? Today you've got a castle. Tomorrow you want to be a tar paper shack? That's your tar paper shack. Next day you can just lay out under the stars. I've gone there with my twin flame. In this life, I had a dream that we met in heaven, and we were laying among these yellow flowers. And they were very sunshiny and beautiful. And we had this blanket. We just laid down and we held hands and we're just staring up at the puffy white clouds together, talking about when we're going to find each other and meet. And it was just so sublime. And I woke up just so happy. Like, I can't wait to see him in real life, because we're going to have that same feeling when we meet. There's an incredible movie about heaven that I found to be very, very close to accurate, and it's called Made in Heaven. Made in Heaven, and it was made like in the 80s or 90s. It's excellent movie. So, Robin Williams' movie about heaven, when he died and went to heaven, and his heaven was made of art, and he's like walking in a painting, and he's like squishing the paint underneath his feet. That was his version of heaven, and that one I found to be very accurate. Also, there's a depiction of hell in that movie that I also find to be very accurate. So I'll think about it, what the name of it, in a minute. But how do you get there while you're still alive and you don't want to die? Obviously, you could just ask God or your holy guardian angel to take you there at night. That's how you get there. It's easy. You can focus on your third eye or your crown chakra, or even if you have your other chakras open, focus on your upper chakras and ask God to bring you home. You've had enough for today. You need to go home for 8 hours or whatever. You could go talk to your grandma. You could go talk to your family. You could go kick it with some animals that speak. I have a house up there with a friend of mine. We share a house. So sometimes we go up there and meet and hang out together. And sometimes he'll leave me notes. So I'll go to heaven and see his notes, because we've lost touch here on earth, and we'll go there and meet each other. Or he had a white eagle in the house, and I had a white wolf in the house. We keep collecting these white animals, and when we leave, the animals leave, but they come back when we're there. And they're not really our pets; they're just like our friends. But we can hang out with the animals and talk to them, And you can learn anything from animals that are wild. You could go up there and talk to them and ask them what's their motivation, or why do they do what they do on Earth, and you can learn insights that you wouldn't have had access to otherwise. You could go learn about cultures, anything you want. So, heaven, one of my favorite places. Not on earth. One of my favorite places ever. 13. Here's the next question, guys. What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of life? So, after you've written it down, you can pause it. If you want to answer that, contemplate it. I'm going to tell you mine now. 13. That number keeps coming up. What is the meaning of life? For me, the meaning of life, I like what the Dalai Lama said when he said the purpose of life is to be happy. The purpose of life is to be happy. What I believe is the meaning of life. I don't know. Does it have a meaning? I don't even know if it has an actual meaning. I know why we're here, but I don't know if that's our meaning. I almost feel like shining this off and really contemplating this one. The meaning of life. I think that we all come from one being that split himself off into trillions of little shards, and we have to fight and claw and remember our way back. And we're going to find out what we're really made of. We're going to find out who we are when we don't believe we are who we are. We're ultimate love. We're ultimate peace. prosperity, abundance, pure, everything. We are magnificent. We are light. We are all that is. But when we're born here on this planet, we have a thick veil placed around us, and we think that we're nothing. It's quite sad and poetic. We think that we deserve nothing. We are nothing. We are just lowly peon. We don't deserve love. We aren't love. We don't know anything about ourselves. And through many, many, many incarnations, we get to understand who we are. We gain confidence. We let go of ego and cockiness. We become humble. And in our humility is when we remember who we truly are. When we start to drop all of the petty ego arguments and negative things, and we start to forgive ourselves and others and circumstances around us, and we start to heal our family lineage and our ancestry, and we start to feel our connection with others that are like-minded, and eventually we feel our connection with others who are assholes and not like-minded at all, basically, i.e. asleep, spiritually unawakened. And then eventually we, no matter how bad somebody is, we still love them. We still have compassion for them because we recognize that we are them too. We are everybody because we all are one. And we start to realize that that's the meaning of life. But from one lifetime, and not counting all of them, and from the beginning of time to now, or through infinity, the meaning of life is to, I think, find your purpose for this time around. What's going to make you happy? What's going to make other people happy? How are you going to find your center in the midst of chaos? And how are you going to find at least one person to love in spite of everything that they do or say or how they act, or in spite of everything, one person to love. Usually that's your children. It's easier to love your children no matter what they do or say. If it's your partner, whether it's a best friend or a business partner or your romantic love, it's kind of easier to walk away from an adult. But when it's your child, even if it's an adult child, you still never stop that loving. So you have to find someone that you love unconditionally. And with any luck, that person is you. Maybe the meaning of life is to love yourself unconditionally and then extend that to others until you find your way back to God. And then you realize that God never left. Only you had left. All right, so describe God. 14. 14 is describe God. If you want to pause it now, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you mine in 3, 2. You can't describe God. Lao Tzu said that once you, basically I'm paraphrasing, Lao Tzu, he's, the reason why Grandma Marion called him Lao Tzu is she was there with him when he was Lao Tzu. And she and I were both there with him when he was Jesus, or Yeshua. So, or Yeshua, I call him. But Lao Tzu, when Jesus was Lao Tzu, he said that which cannot be named is the true Tao. And once you name the Tao, it ceases to be the Tao, because you have basically taken what was above us and in heaven, like in the greatest ethereal, esoteric realms, and then you reduce it to a word here. It's almost like you've stained it and you've taken away its true meaning and you've taken away its magnitude. and its magnificence, and you brought it just to a word, which is a very gross substance in this third dimensional world. And although now we're in the fifth, but back then, Lao Tzu was in the third dimension. So, and I don't think he said those words exactly, like as I'm paraphrasing. So if you can name it, that's not the eternal Tao. If you say what God is, that's not the eternal God. I feel like God is at once the no thing, the invisible and unseen hand in everything. He is absolutely everywhere, and yet you can't see him. He's a he, he's a she, they're a they. And they're also genderless. They're free of that. I believe there's a mother and a father God. Although we've only been hearing from the Father God mostly until recently, because we went through a patriarchal, we went through the matriarchal, then the patriarchal, and now this is the time in which divine feminine and divine masculine are coming together, as the two gods are going to reappear, and we will all eventually believe in that. And I think that's as all the twin flames are coming together, the divine masculine and divine feminine. And not everybody is a twin flame incarnate on this planet. And some of you might have already reintegrated with your twin flame. And when you're born, you were both your male and female parts together. And especially if you feel like you're completely whole in a way that you don't even care to seek another, probably you've already been reunited and got back down here with both parts, possibly. Although I think that's extremely rare, if it even exists at all. So what is God? Describe God? God is the no thing and the everything. Everything you see is God, and everything you don't see is also God. Everything is God. Your God, whether you believe it or not. God cannot be described unless you describe everything that is on every planet, in every world, in every dimension, in every mansion of heaven, in every side parallel universe, in every atom, in every molecule, in every eye, in every heart, in every soul, in every phase and form. God is the formless substance and the form. God is the within and the without, the up and the down, the black and the white and the gray in between. And yet God cannot ever be described. So we're going to move right on, because I don't even know what else to say about that. God is love. Love is God. And evol is the first part of the word evolution. Love spelled backwards is E-V-O-L, as in love-evolution or evolution. God is an ever-growing, changing, evolving being that is everything, all the universes. He is the creator of all. Question 15. Get your pens ready again. What is the greatest quality humans possess? All right, I'm going to tell you mine, so pause it if you don't want to hear mine first. What is the greatest quality humans possess? I think the first greatest quality humans possess is the absolute ability to love unconditionally when you grow to that level of wisdom and understanding of spirituality and the way that reality truly is. And when you get to that level, that is the greatest quality humans possess. Now, it's hard to love absolutely everyone unconditionally at first. So most people, or many people, love their children unconditionally. I find that to be one of the easiest things. Or if you have a kitten, or a cat or a dog, or an animal, it seems like it's easier to love an animal unconditionally. Although that seems to be how animals feel about humans in general. Either absolutely don't like us, don't want to be near us, and distrusting us, or loving us unconditionally. Seems to be, one of the two with animals and humans. But the greatest quality humans possess, that's the highest level that we can achieve. Complete and absolute unconditional love for everybody. It's impersonal, but it's compassion and unconditional love. But besides that, something that I think is human, very, very human, is our resiliency. You see this in books and movies and plays and poems and stories, and in everyone's daily life. Like, we have absolute resolve to make it through and be resilient. People come back from the brink of death every day. People get in wrecks and they can't move a muscle, and they're told they'll never walk again. And, just a couple short years later, they're running marathons. Our resiliency is really a remarkable quality. I don't know if it's our greatest quality, but it's something that's always struck me as really incredible about humans as a whole. Not every human has the ability to forgive, but I feel like when people can go through something really terrible and then forgive the people that put them through that, I find that to be one of the greatest qualities around. Being able to forgive absolutely everybody, everything, every circumstance. I find that to be one of the greatest qualities. But something I think that everybody pretty much possesses is that inner resolve and drive and that resilient spirit, that never give up-titude, right? That I don't know, it's just a muchness inside of us. That beingness that propels us forward, keep striving, keep trying against all the greatest odds. Very rarely will you find someone that does not have that. Even people who end up committing suicide, I feel like they do have that resiliency until they don't have it anymore. But they, up until the point, like someone who is suffering mentally, when they're very, very sick mentally, and they have problems that are beyond their own control. Usually it's people that give up like that, it's because they picked all of the stuff that they went through, and they picked the mental illness to begin with, but then they just could not take it anymore, and they really just can't, and God just allows them to give it up. Like, it's okay, come home, it's all right, honey, you don't need to stay. And but I feel like people who struggle with those issues for tens of years, 10, 20, 30 years, that's a great deal of resiliency. So even people that have massive struggles like that still have that. I'm gonna keep going in spite of all odds. Gonna keep going, damn it, And you see that in every zombie movie, in every tornado movie, in every natural disaster movie, and in every divorce movie where people are getting divorced and they just have to keep going, and every day be strong for themselves, be strong for the kids, be strong pillars of the community or whatever. It's a resiliency, and I find that to be one of the greatest human qualities. All right, so the next one is 16 is, what is it that prevents people from living to their full potential? Write this one down, answer this one, pause it, and then answer it, and then listen to mine. What is it that prevents people from living to their full potential? I find that people are blocked by an inner critic that they haven't squashed yet, and anxiety, and fear. Sometimes it's fear of success. More oftentimes it's fear of failure, or of being ridiculed, or of being told, I told you so. People don't live to their full potential because they don't believe in themselves. They don't have confidence. And last but not least, they don't have enough emotional support. They don't believe in themselves, and they don't have anyone around them that also believes in them and supports them and encourages them. They don't have encouragement. They don't feel love. I know, because I've struggled with this issue my whole life. And I have a lot more people rejecting me and acting like I don't matter than I do people that actually give a damn. That actually encourage me and tell me that I am on the right track and I am inspiring and I am working towards helping others. My whole thing is I want to help others. I want to love everybody, and I do it quietly mostly. I work, I finally, only in the last year and a half have I even told people what I'm doing with building the grids around the earth and implementing the Christ consciousness on the planet. Not just me, but with thousands of other light workers. And we were all asked, I was asked by Jesus directly to do it. But all the stuff I've been doing has just been quiet, and I've been living that life of quiet desperation. Because I so badly want to get my books out. I haven't gotten one book out yet. I've written books, but I haven't gotten them out yet. I've written screenplays. I know I'm a good writer. But no one's bought my work because it's too spiritual. It's too, not even religious. It's just spiritual, like the stuff I talk about. But no one has picked it up because it's not maybe controversial enough, or it's not mainstream enough. It will be eventually. I just am ahead of my time. I know it. But I think that those are the things, though, that prevent people from living up to their full potential. I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit or confidence, and it's hard to be your own cheerleader. You could be a cheerleader for everybody else, but who cheers on the cheerleader? Very rarely anybody. When you are out ahead of everyone else and you're like a leader, even if you're a freaking reluctant leader like me, I don't even want to be, but I've always been thrust into positions of power or leadership roles where I have to be the one in charge of everything all the freaking time. And no one really cheers me on. They just expect me to be that. And it's freaking crazy. I don't know. And so I feel like I haven't really even lived up to my full potential even yet. But I don't know if do we ever achieve it? I don't know. All right. The next question is 17. Non-verbally, by motion or gesture only, act out what you believe to be the current condition of the world. This is radio, so I'm going to have to describe how I acted out. But okay, I want you guys to write down, pause it, and act it out. Non-verbally, by motion or gesture only, act out what you believe to be the current condition of the world. All right. I just kind of slumped over like a rag doll, flapping in the wind, dude. We're not going to be defeated because we are resilient, but I just feel like right now we just feel so fucking defeated. Ask me in a year, it's going to be a way different answer. I'll be dancing. My hands up in the air and crying. But right now, we're like a damn rag doll, flopping in the wind. That's how I feel the condition of the world is right now. And if you guys have seen the super cute and so sad meme of, it's like a cartoon drawing of an earth with a face mask on, in bed, with a cover over it, sick with the temperature taker, like a thermometer in its mouth, and there are all these people on the other side of a window looking and sending love and having hearts and balloons and putting their hands up against the window, and they all have face masks on. It was one of the cutest pictures I've seen. It really broke my heart to see it. That's how I feel. That's what's going on right now. That's the condition of the world right now. It's changing. It's changing. I mean, we just did this meditation. 1.1 billion people participated in this meditation, and we are getting better. We're getting better. Everything is getting better, but right now we're still damn ragdoll. We're like an old ragdoll's been dragged through the mud. And I just feel like we're going to be put through a washer machine and through a dryer and through that fluff cycle, maybe left out in the sun. Spray a little bit of Lysol on us. So our button eyes back on. And we'll be good as new. We get that fifth dimension, we'll even get a new dress. But yeah, right now we're like just all but defeated emotionally. We'll get through it. We're all going to get through it together. We don't have a choice. 18. Get out your pen again, dears. Okay, what is your one wish for the world? What is your one wish for the world? My one wish for the world is that we all wake the fuck up. We just wake the fuck up and we have complete and total peace, harmony, and abundance. So my one wish for the world is 100% of us live in heaven on earth. That's it. Heaven on earth. All right, and here we go with 19. If you're ready to write it down. Okay, 19 is, what is wisdom and how do we gain it? What is wisdom and how do we gain it? All right, so you can have knowledge. Anyone can read a book. But wisdom comes with experience. Wisdom is something that you're not really born with, although you could be born with it. I think my oldest kid was born with wisdom. But you gain it through experience on earth and not in just one lifetime. Doesn't happen in a week. Oh, I spiritually woke up a month ago, so now I'm just a spiritual leader on earth. No, it doesn't work that way. You might have been here seeking spiritual things for hundreds of lifetimes, and then the veil was lifted a month ago, and now you have that wisdom regained. You already had it. You already earned it. It's something that's earned. And some people wake up spiritually, but like they're newbies. They haven't been on earth, so they don't have the wisdom, but they have the spiritual awakening. And they're like, oh, well, it's just like this. Sure. Okay. And so then they have this happy-go-lucky, sing-songy voice. Well, it's just like this, and it's like this, and la la la, da 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 da. And it's almost like a little child playing mommy with her dollies and dress up and playing house, right? I've seen a lot of channels that people think they have spiritual knowledge, and they might have a few things going for them, and they have some insights, but they don't have true wisdom. And if you see people like this, like on Instagram or whatever, it's kind of funny and it's kind of cute because they're like, I'm wearing mommy's dress-up shoes and mommy's pearls and mommy's purse and her hat, and now I'm mommy. But everyone else is looking at that going, You're just a little girl playing dress up to look like mommy. It's adorable, but it's not, you're not truly mommy yet, right? You're not a mom yet. And I see a lot of people like that where it's like, sometimes it's frustrating. It's like, no, this isn't right, Yeah, that's still ego separation. That's still 3D. That's still not, and sometimes I try to correct people or say, no, give you my opinion. And some people fight back and go, well, my opinion's just as valid as yours. And I know it's what, and you don't, and you don't know because you're talking from your ego. And it's like, you're not mommy because you're wearing mommy's shoes and pearls. Mommy became mommy by becoming an adult and having the wisdom of being an adult and learning about all the responsibilities of an adult. Hopefully, supposedly. And the same thing is with spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Like, when you're wise, it's because you have read the books, gained the knowledge, had the experiences, and then you can place that into action. That's what wisdom is. You could see the whole of the thing, not just the individual parts. You see how the parts go together. You see how all of the whole universe and the fabric of space and time and reality work. And then you could apply that to the everyday. That's wisdom. When you have knowledge, you don't have the experience. And you can't apply it in a way in which you have true wisdom. In time you will, and everyone does in time. And I'm still trying to gain wisdom as well. I mean, it's, I feel like I'm pretty wise, but there's some things I'm not wise on yet. Like, I didn't, even up until like 3 years ago, I still kept repeating the same stupid relationship pattern. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't figure it out. And I finally I had enough. My last breakup 3 years ago. And I wrote down all the things he was doing. And I looked it all up on the computer. I just wrote, what if a person is doing these things? And then the word narcissist came up. But I'm like, oh, I thought that was just someone who thought they were good looking and kept looking at themselves in the mirror. Because, literally the teacher in abnormal psychology, when I got my degree in psychology, spent all of 5 minutes describing what a narcissist is. And I feel like if I had gone to school and heard about this for like a whole year, I would have gotten it. But it was a 5-minute, it wasn't even a whole lecture. And I think that was a gross mistake. That was a grave mistake. And it cost me my entire adult life in bad relationships until I understood it. Now, if you don't know what that is and you haven't quite grasped it, go back last year, season 1, I did do several shows about setting boundaries and being an empath and the narcissist empath dance, right? I did a lot of information on that, but I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, so that's just part of it. But so that was a form of wisdom that took me a long time to freaking grasp, and now I have it. I have it completely down, and I will never be with another man that is a narcissist, because I could see him coming a mile away. If I meet my twin and he's a narcissist, I'm the frick out of there. Y'all, I'm gone. You will catch my tail lights, and I won't even look at my rearview mirror. I'm done. It's like I have my own boundaries, but I'm pretty sure that my twin is actually a very sweet person. I don't think he's a narcissist at all. I think he's a wonderful person. But what is wisdom and how do we gain it? We just gain it through experience, applying the knowledge through experience. And usually it's just trial and error, There's nothing more to it. Just trial and error. We can learn some knowledge and wisdom through other people, if we're willing and open-minded enough and open-hearted enough to see what they've gone through and really learn and be empathic enough to hear their experiences and feel them. But you have to keep your heart open, your mind open. You have to drop your ego. And wisdom isn't something that you just get. I was struck by lightning. Next day I was super wise. What are you, a wise guy, eh? No, it doesn't happen that way. You get the knowledge through reading, through experience, through storytelling of your elders, through listening, through praying, through crying and going through a lot of shitty relationships, a lot of bad experiences. You gain your wisdom. You earn it like freaking stripes. You earn it. It's like the scars on your body. You earn those too. All right, number 20, and this is the last question, guys. Get out your pen, because here it is. Are we all one? Are we all one? Well, my answer is yes, we are. We're individuals pretending to be individuals, but at the end of the day, and at the end of the schematic, and at the end of the universe, at the ends of the earth, where we are at right now, we are all one. Mitakue Oyasin. We all are one. In Lakech, I am another yourself. Yes. All right, well, there it is. That's all she wrote for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed this part 2 of 20 questions for every spiritual seeker. Again, find these questions on matadornetwork.com. Ian McKenzie is the author of the article. But he took these from a movie, which I forgot to mention. I did mention last week. These 20 questions were eloquently written and put in a documentary film called One, 2005. The questions were posed to various spiritual leaders, Deepak Chopra, Ram Dass, and the Dalai Lama, as well as other people. It's a movie I've yet to see. I would love to see it. Anyway, but you all have my answers, so I hope you wrote your answers before you listen to mine. And if you haven't done it, go home and write them down when you get a chance. So there we go. Because we all are one and I love myself, that means I love you too. And I love God, and I try to bring that through every single episode, even when I'm angry. And it's okay to have all the emotions, because, hey, we are emotional creatures on Earth. We humans are emotional. I don't think it's one of our greatest qualities. Not always. Your moods can cost you a fortune, T. Harv Eker said. But, yeah. There it is, baby. That's all she wrote. I love each and every one of you so much. Thank you for having confidence in me and listening to the show. Thank you further for liking, subscribing, forwarding, and telling everybody you know about Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. I am on every single podcast app, platform, and player you can imagine, except the ones that make you pay money. SoundCloud, I'm not on them because they want $99. Screw that. It's just a paid service. It's kind of a fake podcast thing. But everyone else, I'm there. Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and Anchor. My home base is Anchor, anchor.fm/metaphysical if you want to tell people about where to find me. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for marking your calendars, by the way, for July 1st. That's when the People's Choice Podcast Awards will go out. And I have put my name, my hat in the ring. If you think I deserve it and you want to vote for me, just mark it in your calendar, and I'll tell you the instructions more towards, in July. I'll tell you guys the instructions. So, but that's it. That's it for now. I'll be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming, just like always. I think we're going to talk about magnet therapy unless something else comes up tomorrow, but God said He wanted me to talk to you guys about magnet therapy. So we're going to do that. Hopefully, I'll come up with some really good research on that. I got a little bit of time now to do it, but there it is. That's all. I'm signing off now with peace and joy and the high vibrations of the holy fifth dimension. I'm no longer angry because now I am filled with peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.